good evening, and happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to Mindset Monday. And my name is Indiana Tuggle. For those of you on Facebook and on Instagram who may not know me right now, my name is Indiana Tuggle, and I am an author and I am a writing coach, and I am the founder and CEO of Victory Publishing Co. And Victory Publishing is a hybrid publishing company that helps writers to, that helps aspiring writers to write and publish our books. Hi, Wilma. Hello. How are you? Thank you for joining me. And please be sure to share this broadcast as you are joining in. And what I do at Victory Publishing as a writing coach is I basically develop writers and I help them to turn their testimony into books. I help them to publish their story for God's glory. And what makes me different is the fact that I don't just publish any book. I really help you to promote the healing and miraculous powers of God in the earth. So basically, what I look for in an aspiring writer is I look for, can they detail the victory in what they've been through and what God has done in their lives. If you've been following along with me on Facebook and on Instagram, you will know that Mindset Monday is a live broadcast in which I created to basically give aspiring authors some writing tips on how to get over the mindset blockage that's preventing them from writing and publishing their book. Because many of us are called to write. Many of us believe that God has placed a book on the inside of us, yet many of us are still stuck procrastinating. And Mindset Monday is really all about breaking that barrier, ending that procrastination, letting go of your excuses, and really getting to the mindset behind a lot of the questioning that we tend to have before we get that book started. And tonight is no different. Tonight, we are talking about how long does it take to actually write a book? And I've got this question from someone in a group that I follow along, and she asked the question of how long does it actually take to write a book? And the short answer is, how long do you have? That is the number one question that you have to ask yourself is, how long do you have? Do you have the time to really commit to the process? And how many of you that are watching, how many of you that are tuning in now, how many of you have really ever asked yourself this question? Have you ever asked yourself, how long does it take to write a book? And really, the answer that you get, how does it really affect your writing process? And forgive me, I'm getting my notes together because I have a lot of notes that I took down that I wanted to discuss tonight. So I wanted to make sure that I have them all in front of me, but I got it situated so now so I can focus and pay attention to what I'm doing. So how does that answer really affect your decision to actually get the book done? Because that is the question of the hour. And I know many of you have been seeing coaches promoting programs, including myself. I promote a program that I can help you write your book in 90 days. I've seen some say they can help you write it in 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, however long that it takes. And when you see that, do you in turn ask yourself, well, is that really possible? Is it really possible to write a book in a week? Is it really possible to write a book in 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, etc.? And if it is possible, is it really quality work? Because I've heard a lot of aspiring writers question on whether or not a book that is written in 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, if it is quality work, if it is worth reading, if it is worth being published. And then I've heard aspiring writers ask, well, if a book can be written in that short period of time, is it a pamphlet or is it a book? Is it something that's 30 pages, 60 pages, or whatever, or is it a real novel? And then when you ask them, well, what's a real novel? how many pages is a real novel? They don't know the answer to that question either. So my question is more of it, none of that really answers actually what you're trying to do. You're really looking for an excuse to put it off again, because you're telling yourself that you can't get it done in that period of times, and none of the answers will actually sway your desire to sit down and write. If you know that you could do it in 30 days, will you sit down and do it? If you know you can do it in 7 days, will you sit down and actually do it? So what is the truth behind your questioning? So what's the real problem? And I said it earlier in my post, the real problem is comparison. You're comparing yourself to somebody else. You're comparing yourself to people who have been writing for years. Okay. And you're comparing yourself to someone whose process is totally different from yours. Someone whose genre that they're writing is totally different from yours. Someone who their reason for writing may be totally different from yours. So you don't know the back matter. You don't know the reason behind why they can produce a book in that short of time. And I've even said it myself. I met an author at a conference one day, and she publishes a book every month. And me and one of my author friends, we was like, how you publishing a book every month? But and we was like, dog, is it quality? Is it good? Is it this? Is it that? And we had to really stop and say, you know what? That's her process. If that's what's working for her, then that's what's working for her. If that's the demand that she has for her books through her readers and her fan base, then you know what? Do it. Then keep going. So we had to stop. We had to even stop and ask ourselves, okay, why we knocking what she doing? It doesn't affect what we're doing. I'm still on a plan of 1 book a year because I know the depth of my writing, and I know the what it takes for me to write. So when you see this, and when you ask that question, are you less than a writer if it takes you more time? Does it mean that you're less than a writer? Are you not as good as a writer of them? Or are you better than them if it takes you less time? So basically, you have to really, in this journey, you have to begin to stop comparing yourself to other people. And it's really all an excuse to justify your own excuses. You're going to tell yourself that you're not good enough to complete it in 30 days. You're going to tell yourself that you can't possibly do it in 90 days. I got other stuff to do. I have jobs, I have kids, I have this, I have that. Nobody has that kind of time to write a book that fast. So really, basically, what does somebody else have to do with you? What does they have to do with you? And the writing coaches who, and actually, honestly, if you look at your situation, if you factor in how long you've been procrastinating, if you factor in when God actually told you to write the book years ago, months ago, weeks ago, if you factor that in, you could probably be on book 4 or 5, 6 or 7 or 8 by now, right? And honestly, to give an honest viewpoint of it, I believe that the first book takes longer. And it doesn't take longer to write it. It takes longer to get up the confidence to write it. It takes longer to stop questioning your own abilities. It takes longer for you to get over the fear of actually sitting down and writing. And like I said, comparing yourself to others. So, really, how long you write is really not as important as if you're actually writing. Are you actually writing? Because no matter how long somebody says that it can take, if you're not writing, you're not going to get there anyway. So if somebody tells you it can take a month, 2 months, 3 months, if you're not actually sitting down writing, guess what? It's not going to take you 3 months. It's going to take you longer because you haven't even started the process yet. So when you're asking yourself, how long does it take to write a book, and whether So you have to begin to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, are you committed? Are you committed to the process? And number two, do you have a plan? Do you really have a plan? Meaning, have you set aside time in your schedule to actually sit down and write? And have you factored into that plan what you're going to do when the excuses come? Have you factored into that plan what's going to happen when emergencies come up that are going to take precedence over your writing? Have you factored all of that into your plan? And number three, have you done your research? Because every author and every coach has their own method, and those methods work. However, again, you have to be committed to the process, and you have to be willing to put in the work, because no coach is going to write the book for you. You know, so you have to create and adapt your own method. And then number four, do you have accountability? Because that's basically what a writing coach is going to provide for you. They're going to provide you that accountability. When I wrote my first book, I didn't have a coach. So what I did was my friend who believed in my writing and believed that God had called me to write and that I should be writing this book, I got with her and I said, look, I need an accountability partner because I keep procrastinating. I keep putting this thing off, and I really need to sit down and write this book. And we came up with a plan, and she was like, okay, look, how many pages you going to write a week? How many pages can you write a week? And I was like, okay, I can write 10 pages a week. She said, okay, well, I'm gonna check in. When you gonna have it done by? Okay, by Sunday. So every Sunday at church, or she would send me a text message and say, how many pages did you write today? And no matter what I would say, she'd be like, no excuse. You behind, get it together. You know, so you have to have somebody in your corner to be able to push you. And then it has to be somebody that you respect enough to where when they get on your case, you won't get mad and cuss them out. Because you know we'll do that. We'll get mad. We'll tell somebody to help us. And then when they actually help us, we'll get mad and tell them, you just don't understand. You're not in my shoes. You don't know what I'm going through. And it's easy for you to say you're not doing it. But you ask them to help you. Okay, so you have to get somebody to be your accountability partner that you respect enough and you value their opinion and you know that it's coming from a place of love. And sometimes, and you have to, in order to do this thing, you have to really stop going at it alone. If you continue to think that you can do it by yourself, then why haven't you done it yet? If you could do it on your own, you would have done it by now. So it's apparent that you need some help. And that help may mean that you may need to invest in a coach. You may need to invest in somebody who specializes in the genre that you're writing. You may need to invest in somebody that you trust who can motivate and encourage you as you go along. And that person will not allow you to make excuses. You may need to invest in that because there are two things that motivate us. And that's the next thing I'm going to talk about is, have you found your why? You know, because your why is going to be the source of your motivation and your accountability. Because if you don't find your why, you will continue to make excuses. And paying somebody to hold you accountable, to help you, paying a writing coach, sometimes that will be your motivation, because we don't like to waste our money, right? Because if you don't write the book in the 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, whatever standard that coach has put before you, if you don't do it, can you blame the coach if you didn't sit down and write? You really can't. So sometimes paying somebody will be your motivating factor. You don't want to waste your money, and that's okay. You know, and another thing is, when you are looking for your why has to be bigger than your excuses. Your why has to be that thing that's going to make you get up and do it. And some of us, we are putting writing in a character category of it's just a desire. It's just something that you put on the bucket list to be able to accomplish one day. You don't set a date for it. That's the problem. You keep saying one day. One day I'm going to write a book. One day never comes because you have to put a time limit on it. That makes it urgent in your mind. That's why when people tell you when it comes to accomplishing your goals, if you don't make a realistic deadline, if you don't say when you're going to have it completed by, then it doesn't register in your mind that it's urgent or that it's priority. So you have to set a date to accomplish your goals. And really, what helped me with this is when I began to write my first book, I started to think about all of the things that I had accomplished thus far in my life. I had accomplished, I'm on the job, I go to work every day, I don't miss work. Why? Because work is a means to an end. If I don't go to work, I can't get paid. And if I don't get paid, I can't pay no bills. And if I can't pay no bills, she gonna be homeless. So I get up and I go to work every day. So you have to think about your writing in terms of that. What is it about your writing that's going to make you get up and go? Why is it important to you? And then think about other things you've accomplished. For me, I've been to school. I've gotten multiple degrees. What made me continue to go? I didn't procrastinate on that. I didn't stop going to school. I continued to go. Why? Because I felt as though getting the education was going to be vital to my future, and it was going to unlock and open some doors for me in a lot of my other dreams and goals. Education was another step in the plan. So what is this writing to you? Is it a need or is it a desire? I wrote out of obedience. God told me to write and I did it. And for some of you, you need to write not just because you want to become a best-selling author or you want to see your name on a book. You need to write because God is trying to pull something out of you. Either you need some healing or either you need to release something that you're continuing to hold on to and you're fighting it. Your flesh is literally fighting it, fighting coming out of your comfort zone, and you're fighting it because of fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. And you have to really look at what has God promised you that this book is going to do for you. When I started writing, God promised me some things that the book was for. Yes, my first book, my first two books were my own personal healing. I needed to go through some things. I needed to unleash some things. I needed to let go of some things in my past. And the writing helped me to get through those things. But what I didn't know was that as I was going through the healing process, as I was documenting my healing process, God was going to use that to help heal other people. And sometimes that's why you're writing. You're writing to heal yourself and to heal others. So, but you have to understand that you cannot heal others if you're not healed yourself. Otherwise, y'all just gonna be bleeding on each other. So are you willing to go through the process to secure your future? Is your legacy, is your future important? And for some of you, you're writing so that God can reveal who you are, so that he can give you a sense of identity, because right now you're lost. You don't know who you are. You're constantly asking God to show you your purpose, and he's telling you how to use your gifts. Writing is a hidden gift that you buried because you don't think it's important. To you, you were just journaling. To you, you were just taking notes on the sermon. To you, you were just doodling on a piece of paper, writing down your thoughts. But to God, you're communicating with him. To God, you are writing down his deepest desires and his heart's desires for not only you, but for others. So God is God is telling you to write so that you can unlock that hidden skill that you buried. And many times we ask God to show us our purpose, but we refuse to use our gifts. And you cannot get to purpose if you don't use what God has given you and what he's placed in you. Okay, we all have gifts and talents, but a lot of times, when people say they don't know their purpose, it's because they don't know their gifts. They don't see anything of value in them. So they continue to ask, "What's my purpose? What's my purpose?" And you ask them, "Okay, well, what are you good at?" And they're like, "I don't know." You have to utilize your gifts in order to get to your purpose. Your gifts are what God placed in you. Purpose is how you use those gifts. So the steps toward purpose is ask God to show you what to do with the gifts He's placed in you. And one of those gifts He's placed in you is writing, but you refuse to use it. And when you unlock those gifts, when you submit yourself to the plan of God and you say, "Okay, God, I'm going to do this thing the way that you want me to do it," then He can open more doors. I started writing, and that led to more gifts. That led to more skill sets. Now I'm not only writing, I'm speaking, I'm creating courses, I have companies, so it's like it has multiplied. Okay, one act of obedience multiplied into several other things. But you're still stuck on whether or not this thing is going to be profitable, whether or not you're going to make it to be a best-selling author. And honestly, what does that even mean? Is that going to give you more money? Because I know plenty of authors who have made it to best-selling status, but they're not rich. Meaning what? I mean, it's nothing wrong with aspiring to achieve that. I aspire to achieve it. I haven't made it yet. However, if I don't get it, I'm not going to stop writing. I'm not going to stop writing till God said there is no more books in you. You have written all I told you to write. And the way that I'm going, I tend to write from my pain. And a lot of us, we write from our pain. So that's what scares you. You're afraid of exposing what is in you because you don't want other people to know what you've been going through or what you've been through. You don't want anybody to know that because you swept it under the rug. And that may be the reason why God is calling you to write, because it's time for you to move that cover back. It's time for you to deal with those skeletons in the closet. And the beauty about God is He does it so nicely and so quietly. A lot of the stuff that I put in my book, I was like, oh my God, I really didn't want nobody to know that. But as I got healed and as I grew, I stopped caring anymore. So a lot of the times as you go, all of those fears, all of those concerns, all of those worries, they're going to be released. You're going to release it, but you have to be willing to take the first step. You have to be willing to let it go and to put it all on the line for God. You have to be willing to get naked and get vulnerable in front of Him so that He can do that work in you, so that He can give you the beautiful ashes, so that the word can actually take hold and manifest in your life. You've been serving Him, you've been praying, you've been fasting, you've been writing, you've been hearing from Him, but now He wants you to release or unleash that which you've been doing in secret. He's ready to unleash it to the world, but you're afraid and scared. There is no fear, and faith cannot coincide together. You are grieving the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit cannot move because you are holding His hand. You are literally tying the Holy Spirit down and not allowing Him to move in your life. And it's understandable. We all have it. We all have areas in our lives in which we're strong at. I'm the same. Writing is my thing. So I love to write. So I can push you to write. But I struggle in some areas too. So we all have it. It's called balance. Nobody is perfect and it keeps you humble. I'm learning that a lot of times some of the things that you're struggling with and some of the things that you're dealing with is not really for you to get over it or move away from it. Some of it is so you can deal with it and learn to move on in spite of, because it keeps you humble. Because I know I have issues in other areas, then I can't point the finger at nobody else. Okay, because I know myself, I'm not perfect. So that prevents me from pointing the finger and judging somebody else for their faults. And I say, you know what? I can pray for you. I'm strong in that area. So let me help you in that area. You're strong in this area. So maybe you can help me in that area. And that's really what it's about. It's about us teaching each other our strengths and helping each other in their weaknesses. And so, that's why I'm really avid about helping people birth their stories, because the universe, the company, excuse me, the country, the world is groaning for the sons of God to really stand up and proclaim the goodness of God in the earth. And that's what I want to help you do. I want you to show the world what God has done for you. And if God has really been that good to you, if he's really done so much for you, why are you afraid to share it with the world? Why are you afraid to tell somebody what happened? But yet you will allow the enemy to continue to torment you with that story, torment you with shame, torment you with regret, torment you with fear of exposure. When bottom line, when you get in front of your own story and you tell your own story, it's nothing nobody else can say. I don't care what's went on in my past, can't nobody tell it like I can tell it. I tell my own story. Can't nobody come behind me and say, well, girl, I knew you back then and you did this and that. I tell my own story. Okay, so because I am healed. And when you are healed, you can walk in that freedom and you can walk in that forgiveness and you can walk in that wholeness. Yes, there are still other areas that I still need deliverance in. And I'm writing on that now. That's the next book. So each time that God uncovers something else, I move on to another thing, but it's all about trust. I trust that God knows what's best for me, and I trust that he has me in the palm of my hand, and he will not allow anything or anyone to hurt me. And that's really what you have to understand when you're questioning whether or not you can write your story is, don't worry about people. Don't worry about what they're going to say. Don't worry about what they're going to do. Do you trust that God knows what's best for you? And do you trust that God is going to handle it all? I know without a shadow of a doubt, God is going to handle it. So therefore, I'm not worried about what somebody else is going to say. They can't hurt me. They really cannot. So that's really what you have to begin to ask yourself when you begin to question what God has called you to do. Accept the call and get into his face and ask him how he wants you to do it. Because God will not give you an assignment and not show you how to get it done. That's not God at all. So if you're still questioning whether or not you should be writing, if you're still questioning how to write, if you're still questioning what to write, that is because, and I've said it many, many, many times, that is because you are not in relationship with God. You have stepped outside of his presence and you are not communicating with him. You have not asked him. He told you to write a book and you froze and you ran and you're still running. When actually, it'll be a lot easier. You just come to him and say, okay, God, you told me to write this book. Tell me how you want to get it done. And he is going to tell you, he's going to give you that strategic plan. He's going to give you divine connections. He's going to bring the people to you to help you birth it. And I may be that person. So, and I would love to be the one to help you to birth your story. And tonight I'm going to share with you two ways in which you can work with me. And beginning September 1st, the Birth Your Own book is now enrolling. I am on a mission to help 10 authors birth their books before 2019. So if you have that desire, if that was your goal, January 1st to write your book, this is the program for you. It is a 90-day intensive program. And when I say intensive, I mean you're going to have to write. we are going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get together, we're going to get on a call, and we are going to outline your book. And then once we outline your book, we are going to set up a plan of action of how much you're going to write and what day and time you can set aside to write according to your schedule. Okay, so you will have weekly writing goals, and then I will be your accountability partner. Meaning I will be checking in with you throughout the week to see how your writing is going. And then as you submit your writing each week, I will be reviewing and critiquing your writing as you go. And then as part of the program, you will also have access to my writing center, to where you can take other classes to get you some more tips on your writing journey as well. And then when we finish the book in 90 days, I will give you some guidance or a self-publishing manual of how you can get that uploaded on Amazon. Okay, great. Wilma, you say you already have the outline for your book. So you're already set. We will just review that outline, and we will review the direction that you're going, and we will begin to get you to start writing, and I can review. And I know you for a fact, you already have some writing done. So I'll review what you started and give my critique on what you need to add, or how you can continue on your process to make it better. Because one thing about me, my number one job as a coach is to help you to promote the heart of God in your writing. Okay, so it's going to be a lot of prayer, a lot of fasting, a lot of tears, and my job is also to make sure that you don't run from the process, and make sure that you don't get weary in well-doing, and make sure that you don't have any excuses. Okay, so and this program is only $9.97. And now through August the 20th, I have a special to where, because normally if you need a payment plan, it's more. If you need a payment plan, it's like $12.97. However, through August the 20th, I am waiving $300, and you will get your payment plan will be the same price as if you pay full payment. So if you want a payment plan, you can just pay just $97 down to hold your spot, and you will be paying $300 a month. So $300 a month for 3 months, and then $9.97 down, that's your same total of $9.97. But you have to enroll by August 20th. After August 20th, if you need a payment plan, it will be $3.99 a month, which means you will be paying a total of $12.97. So if you want to save that $300, then I admonish you to go ahead and pay your $97 down to save your spot. And also know I'm only accepting 10 people. So you don't want to wait till the last minute, okay? So if you know you're going to do it, then inbox me and say, Indiana, I'm in, but I'm going to make my payment next week. Let me know so I can go ahead and hold your spot, or better yet, go ahead and make that deposit. And the link is in your comments. So you can just click the link. You can go to the website. You can get more details about the program, and you can sign up right there on the website, and it will give you the code to put in to get your $300 off if you're needing that payment program. Of course, if you want to pay the full payment of $9.97, then you have up until September the 1st to do so, because the full price of $9.97, that will not change, okay? So I definitely want you all to take advantage of that. I'm definitely excited about helping you birth your book. And please note that this program is just writing only. It does not include publishing. I am a publisher. I will teach you and show you how to get your book uploaded on Amazon, but you will not get a full publishing services from me in this program. If you want full publishing services, then we can discuss how you can add publishing to your package. But this program will only include a self-publishing manual of how to upload your book to Amazon. So when you finish this, although I will be reviewing and critiquing you as you go, you still will need somebody to proofread, and I offer that as well. So you may not need all of that if we are reviewing and critiquing as you go. But I am so excited about this program. I am so excited about helping you to actually birth your book before 2019. And I want to have a big virtual book release party of everybody in the program, and we can just come on and we can talk about the books that you all have birthed and talk about your excitement on finally getting it done. And of course, if you still don't know if you're ready to get into the program yet, and you just still think that you can do it on your own, you just want to get with me and get some tips on how to jumpstart your writing, then of course you can schedule your 30-minute jumpstart session. And that is where I will give you a few tips. I will not give you all the tips. I will not outline your book. I will not review your book. This is just a jumpstart session to give you a few tips to help you restore your confidence in writing and kind of help you to end the procrastination or the writer's block, so you can pull that book back up out the closet if you've already started. And that is the 30-minute jumpstart session. And that link is, I'm going to type it on your screen because I know you can't see it. And that link is bit.ly/jumpstart with Indiana. And there's capital A, capital S, and capital I in Indiana. And you can get on a call with me and we can talk about your book. We can talk in more detail about the program as well, because I'm still going to tell you about the program and how I can assist you with your writing journey. And again, this program is for those Christian authors. I don't write fiction books. If you're looking for a fiction writing coach, I can definitely refer you to several authors I know that specialize in fiction books, but I specialize in Christian self-help, inspirational, and motivational books. So again, if you're looking for a fiction writing coach, just type it in the comments as well. And I can definitely get you a couple of people that you can look into and follow them as well to get on their list and to get on a call with them as well, because I do believe in supporting my co-authors and what they're doing in the earth, because books are needed. And no matter what people tell you, no matter what you see, people are reading books. So it is very, very important that you write your book and that you get your story out there. And bottom line, it doesn't matter if there's a million books out there. If God told you to write yours, he wants you to add another one. So don't allow that to deter you at all. And we're actually going to talk about that next week on the next Mindset Monday. We're going to talk about, is the market really oversaturated? Because everybody seems to be writing a book now. Is it oversaturated? And short answer, no. If God told you to do something, it's because he has need for your work in the earth. And it doesn't matter whom else is in there. And Ashley, another author, gave a statistic where there are over 1 billion people who say they want to write a book, but actually only 700,000 actually do write it. So that's only like 1% or 1 to 3% of the population who's actually writing the books that they said they were going to write. So no, it's not oversaturated. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know your questions. And we can talk about that as well. Otherwise, that's really all that I have. I really wanted to talk to you about your questioning about how long does it take to write a book? And the short story of that is, how long? Truth is, it takes as long as you want it to be. It depends on how committed you are to the process. It can be done in whatever set time that you set, whatever set time that your coach has for you, if you follow the guidelines. It really can happen in that amount of time, but you have to be committed to the process. So don't tell yourself that it can't happen. It can. It can happen. I've seen a writing coach advertise an ebook in 7 days. It can happen. It really can. With the right amount of guidance, anything is possible. Can you get your book done in this 90 days? Absolutely. And it's going to be intense. And I have it scheduled to where you can write a chapter a week. That's minimum. A chapter a week. Me personally, if I sit down and I write every day, I can pump out 2 to 3 chapters a week if I'm writing every day. But when I stick to my schedule of writing twice a week because I'm too stressed out on the job, then I write approximately 1 to 2 chapters every week when I sit down and I write. And generally, when I sit down and write, I spend a whole day writing, at least 8 to 10 hours writing. Okay, so but that's because I wait and I do it once a week or something like that. Or sometimes if I do it during the week when I get off work, then I may only sit down for 3 to 4 hours at a time and write. But normally, if I'm going to take a Saturday and go into the bat cave, as I call it, oh, I'm writing all day. I get up, I eat breakfast, I pray, I set the atmosphere, and I go in. I am so excited for you to get started, Wilma. I'm going to be looking for you. I'm going to follow up with you. I am so excited for you as well, because this is going to be, it's going to be a good year. You're going to actually get that book published this year. And I think you already have one published, Wilma, if I'm not mistaken. But for those of you who haven't, you're going to get, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be tough, especially when you're writing from your pain. When you're writing from your pain, it's always a little bit harder because you have to dig deep and bring out those emotions that you buried. But as I said today, it's going to be worth it if you don't run. And that's my job, to help you not run. And $9.97 is a small investment to pay to get it done. You can absolutely get it done. And I want to help you get it done. And in this program, it was a goal of mine to help 10 authors this year. So that's why it's set so low. When it comes back around in 2019, it's not going to be at $9.97 again. So I definitely want you to get in on this program and to actually come and sit and work with me. And even though it's a group program, you still will have a lot of one-on-one time with me, because we're going to meet and we're going to discuss your book and your writing bi-weekly. And weekly, I'll be looking at your writing, but bi-weekly, we will actually get on a call and talk about your concerns, or either as you go, we're going to talk about them as well, because I'm not going to leave you hanging, because I know how frustrating it could be as a first-time author to start writing and be unsure of what you're writing. So definitely, I'm praying for each and every last one of you, that God would reveal to you that I am the coach that is for you, because there are so many out there and we are all good at what we do. If I'm not the right one for you, then definitely there is one out there for you. But I hope that you will be at peace in your spirit and you'll be able to choose me as your coach, and we can get this book birthed before 2019. We can really get it done. I believe in you. I believe in your story. I believe in the God who sent you. I believe in the God that placed the book in you. So I know it can happen. I believe in the God who placed the book in me. You know, I have another one that I'm writing about, and it is one of those areas that I don't want nobody to know I was dealing with either. But it's time to deal with it. And I know God has already given me the outline for it. So I know it's going to be an awesome book, but I also know that it's going to be stretching. It really is. But at this point now, I'm like, okay, God, let's do it. Let's do it. Because to me, obedience is definitely better than sacrifice. And God knows. He knows exactly what you need. He knows exactly how to deal you. Hi, Wilma. Thanks. The BYOB, the Birth Your Own book is a whole writing program where we actually work with me to write out your book in 90 days. Now, the book writing strategy session, that is just a 90-minute strategy session where I spend that time with you to review what you've already, to number one, is either to help you outline your book if you haven't gotten an outline, or number two, to review and critique what you've already written to give you steps on how to complete it on your own. So when you finish the book writing strategy session, I won't be your coach. I'll just be there with you for that 90 days to give you the tips, give you the feedback to help you finish writing it on your own. The BYOB program is the entire writing program in which I will be your coach for 90 days to help you write and finish your book. Did that answer your question? So that's the difference. The strategy session is just a 90-minute session. It's not a coaching program at all. BYOB is an actual coaching program. Okay. And it's a group coaching program. I am enrolling 10 people. So I'm excited about that. And I cannot wait to get started to help you guys. And it starts September the 1st. So again, you can go ahead and pay your deposit now to get started, or you can pay the full payment of $9.97. I hope that answered your question, Wilma. You didn't say if that answered your question or not. I know with Facebook and Be Live, it's kind of a lag difference in between it. And those of you on Instagram who may catch the replay as well, be sure to leave me your comments, or you can inbox me if you have any questions about the writing program as well. Those of you who are viewing on Facebook, you can feel free to inbox me as well if you have any other questions about the program as well. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have. And if there aren't any more questions, then I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to hearing from you all to either join the program or get on the call with me to get some tips about continuing on your writing journey and jumpstarting your writing journey. Can you do it by yourself? Absolutely. Will you get better results by working with me? Absolutely. I do believe that you'll get better results if you work with a coach than go at it by yourself. So I'm looking forward to working with you all. And again, don't wait till the last minute because it's only 10 people. I can only handle 10 people at a time. So it is only open to those 10 people. And again, if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to let you all go and let you all continue your Monday night. I know it's the first day of school, so you have to get your babies prepared for tomorrow. So thank you all again for joining me. Be blessed and have a good night. Good night.